Hello, I am Daisy, and you are tuning into my Learn Tarot playlist. And we have been going through the Fool's Journey through different challenges as is offered and presented to us through the major arcana of the tarot deck. And so all of this has been taking us through a big learning curve as we are on our way towards enlightenment and watching the Fool have these different experiences and grow with each interaction. So after visiting with the Hanged Man, he moves on his journey, and then after letting go all of the things that he needed to let go and has a whole new perspective because he was hanged upside down, right? So now he has an opportunity to learn what is next. And looking at this card before we even start onto the explanations of the symbols and the elements that appear on the face of the card, definitely we could see that this is about transformation. I mean, a lot of people are scared when they see the death card, but not necessarily, depending on some of the adjoining cards. It's not representative of physical death. It's about death of old ways and changing and shifting things around. And so that's what this card really allows us to see. It's the death of old ways. It's a completion. So, don't be so hung up on fear. It's embrace what is obvious, So, but how do we do that? How do we embrace and how do we transform this? Well, we will learn this here through this lesson. So let's go ahead and jump right in. We have the number 13, the numerology aspect of the card. And so the number 13 is considered to be also a karmic number. It really is about upheavals and this new gaining new ground so that we can transform. It's about tests and ordeals and spiritual enlightenment. So definitely a card that allows us to move forward and move onward. And it's representative here through the numerological aspect of it. We also see what? The number, breaking it down, because it's not a master teacher number, it is a karmic number. So the number 13 we can break down. It's not like the number 11 or 22, which are considered master numbers, and we do not reduce them. The number 13, while its impact is there, we can reduce it to actually dive more into the aspect of what does this card want to tell us? What are we learning from here? And so we break this down to 1 plus 3, which is 4. And so this is about organization. It's about inner wisdom. So it's really about pulling back what we learned at the Emperor and now consolidating everything about that organization and bringing structure back to our lives. So this is how we're going to be able to use the tests and the ordeals that are presented so that we can complete this chapter. So we see how the numbers work, right? So this is without even looking at what's the meaning. It's just what's the meaning of the number that's helping me understand more about what I need to, learn next. Okay, let's go right into the elements. Oh, and before I do that, let's pull into some of the other elements of what the death card also represents. It is associated with the zodiac of Scorpio, which brings us to the element of water. And by knowing the element of water, we can also attach an archangel to it, which is Archangel Raphael, which the cardinal direction is west. So we get all these other information just from obtaining that. And by understanding the Scorpio as the zodiac element, we also understand that we're getting the influence of the planet Mars. So what do we know about Mars? It is about upheavals. It is about, giving us those challenging situations so that we can deal into more growth and more knowing, right? So there's a lot to gain from knowing these different relationships with the astrology, the number, the zodiacs, okay? So hopefully that's the little thing that you can use to help you move forward and help with this reading about tapping into that passion that we get from Mars and, moving forward towards that next phase, right? So the first thing that everybody looks at here is like, oh my God, you know, there's a rider on here, and it looks like it's death. It looks like death is coming to come and get you, right? Well, definitely, death is at present, you know, and it's part of that cycle of life. And but what we hear here is that we're bringing this aspect of the color because death is mounted on a white horse. So we've got the yin and the yang. We've got a sense of balance, a sense of neutrality here. We're not judging. We're just letting you know, hey, we're coming together, light and dark, to you know, deal with this and present you with this situation here. As you can see, one of the things that, not carrying a sword, what he is carrying is a flag. And not a flag of surrender, but a flag with the rose that we saw back in the beginning. It's a rose as was depicted on the white rose of the purity of the intention of the fool. So death also has a purity intention of the fairness of life and death. And about, you know, with the horse, it's about embracing this journey and embracing the new beginnings and closing old chapters, so that what you can see when you study the card a little bit that we have up here, you will notice one of the things on there is that there is a winding path. The journey is not over. And where is it going to take? Where is that path going to take us? But he wants to bring us to the gates of enlightenment. So now, one thing I noticed when I was looking at the Everyday Tarot deck, death looks totally different. Yet there is an opposite of colors. But one thing, death on this card has keys. See that? And death is the one, as you let go, you will have access to the keys that are going to open up the gates of heaven for you. So that's how I see that interpretation. Didn't see the keys on this one. But let's continue looking some of the other elements here. As we were mentioning about the flagpole that he's carrying, it's not a sickle, it is a flag, but it's definitely saying, hey, we're here. I am bringing all those of pure heart and pure intentions to come with me, and I will help you cross the gates. That's what death is saying here, and that this is a celebration that is, you know, cultivated after you've gone through all these trials, and you're bringing, you know, the best of you, the pureness, the kindness, the goodness. That's what death is going to harvest. And so the other thing here, we do see that there are some figures on the ground, and what it appears to be, because we see a crown here, so it looks like we have a fallen king here, and it's pretty much saying, hey, I'm not selective. It doesn't matter if you're a king or a pauper. When it's time, I will come and collect you. So asking definitely to be humble, because then we have the bishop here, and with the bishop we see this child and this woman, and they're prostrating here. They're at their knees saying, have mercy, and they're this kindness, like childlike innocence, that is being presented here through that. And the bishop, no matter what, death is still going to come and get him. The thing is that now that you've gained the spirituality, that journey, that crossing over will be gentle. And you will be able to be transformed. So the other thing that we do see, that in the background, there's a ship. There's a ship in the ocean. So we have all these emotions that we've kind of mastered. And this ship talks about that new life. And that that the death is going to take you to the border here, so that you can cross over, to continue the path and continue that new life towards that transformation. And then let's go back to the gates here that we saw. in many, the gates, let's see, where did we see the gates? And so, the, we also, and we also see a ship here, and that ship is going to help us when death comes to get us, to ferry us over to the other side so that we can cross the pillars, or also known as the gates of heaven, which we remember, if you remember, we have seen these before from the high priestess, giving you access to higher knowledge so that you can use that and have a fuller expression of life. Then we saw that again without not that strictness of right and wrong, but a fairness in the faith with the Hierophant. And we saw it again one more time, just very recently, with justice here on earth. But judgment will be later. So death is picking us up and taking us to those pillars, to the other side. Okay, so now that we've gone through the symbols here and some of the elements we saw on the card, how would we, use this in a reading? How would we state this in a reading? So one of the first things, of course, is this is a time now for reflection and transition to new opportunities, for a new way of life, for a new way of thinking. And it's about letting go of the old, and it's about finding resolution and using this opportunity to, maybe there's something that's presenting in your life that you can harvest, and you've worked so hard that now it's here presenting itself so that you can move on to create better things as well. Some of the other elements that we see here is that life change. There's new things in a new situation that's presenting to yourself. Maybe there may be some losses, but those losses in the long term will turn out to be gains as well. So it's about learning lessons from your experience, and it's time to move on. So how would we say this in reading if it's in the reverse? Well, maybe you're resistant to change. Maybe you're set in your old ways and you just can't figure out how to let go, and you just, going to be stuck in the situation until you embrace that. Where's your heart coming from? Have you been trying to show a face to everybody else and not being honest and sincere because you are afraid of, embracing your true self or what other people might say? So this might give you an opportunity to look at your intentions. Are they pure of heart? And look at, why are you being stubborn? Why don't you want to let go? And possibly there could be other situations. Maybe you are dealing in a relationship that it's not going anywhere, and it's time to break up and to just be willing to let go of that so that you can move on into a healthier relationship. And also being open to your future. What is it on your way of thinking that doesn't allow you to step into a more fulfilling life? We have to look at that. So this is all about kind of looking at yourself and be willing to recover from those hard lessons that you've recently learned. So there you have it. So a lot has come through for our Fool on his journey, and he is ready. He is ready to embrace and to let go. He is ready to continue on that path for enlightenment. And to do that, now he must come across dealing with that decision when he comes and meets with temperance. Tune in to the next video.